you're looking at a model of the solar system. This is alignment that occurred in June, early June, like June 1st, June 2nd, somewhere around the 1st of June. Those two white planets are Venus and Earth, and if you drew a line through Venus, Earth, and the Sun, you get an X on the other side of the solar system if you carried that line all the way through. That X we put on the orbital of Uranus, and the reason we did so was because that's where we think planet X is. And we think it's leaving the solar system, and I know people are disappointed when I say that. But then later on, in June, around June, just the second week in June, we had another string of quakes that were a little different, but it was still a very short-lived clustering of quakes, and we'll show you those quakes on a list here in just a second. But notice where the green lines meet the blue lines. That is where the planets come from below the solar system and cross over the solar equator into the northern part of the solar system. So they spend most of their time inclined above or inclined below the equator of the sun, and that's why people are reporting that the whole solar system's tilted. You're like supposed to say, no kidding. But when you draw an alignment through just the Earth, Venus, and where that X is, you get a second alignment that occurs immediately after the early June. And that one solar alignment, I did a poor job of making the line go through the sun. It actually should be pointing almost to the exact same place the second alignment is. I could have done better. So where that green line meets the blue line is where Uranus crosses the ecliptic, or excuse me, the solar equator. But that's where, if you were looking down on the solar system, where planet X would be. And we say that with 90% confidence and a 10% margin of error. So we're going to make predictions based upon that location, just to see if we're right. Not to prove that we know more than you, but we want to know what's going on. So we make predictions based upon parameters. So here are the alignments that have occurred recently. Working backwards, look at the dates. And when you look at the dates, you can see strings of quakes. Some of them occur like 2 and 3 on the same day, and there weren't even aftershocks. So, and then you have it skipping a day, so you see the same cluster or string of quakes, only you may skip a day now and then. As long as you make it up, that's still a classic cluster set off by planetary alignments. So we go through these clusters that you see, and where you see separation of 4 days marks no alignments, and it's no clustering either. But when you see strings of quakes occurring one day after another, and if it skips a day or two, you make it up. Like there you have 2 on the 25th. So, and you know, I want to mention something about magnitude, but I want you to keep your eye on the dates, because it's very important to know where this planet X is and what to expect out of it over the next 3 years. So we see 824, 22, 21, 18, 818, 818. So obvious string of quakes. And we had some precursors before all of these big quakes, and then some aftercursors as well. But we see the typical pattern, start and finish with your bigger quakes most of the time. But we had 3 on 618, precursors to 6.8 and a 6.9. And the 6.8 and 6.9 were in the same region. It was an aftershock. But we count them. 818, so between 818 and 812, that's a gap. There's no alignment going on then. 817 to 8.6, so we're not seeing any strings of quakes. 8.5, so those are all single quakes all by themselves. 8.12, 8.6, 8.5 and 8.1. Looks like, we're starting to get a quake clustering again. 8.5, 8.1, 8.1, 7.28, 7.26. So we skipped a few days, but we had a couple on the same day. So that looked like a cluster. And if you look at the orbital models, you'll see some of these correspond with known planetary alignments. 722, 722, 721, 718, 717, 717. So it's another string of quakes. And again, starting 7.0, ending in a big quake 7.8. That's a classic large body alignment. So we scroll down to June, which was an active month, and we see a gap between July and June that there was no alignments and no quakes. So, but then we have the 7.4, and it's part of that alignment. I think the 7.5 is an after cursor, but we see a big 7.4, and then look at the beginning of the alignment on 8.18, and we'll show you these alignments. 8.18 was a big 7-pointer. So again, we're seeing a pattern that we've showed you over and over and over again. So often that we quit doing this for several years, because by then you should be able to know how to draw straight lines through a planetary model. So 8.13, now we're down to 6.13. Now, like I said, June was active, but we see 6.6 and a 6.2, and then on 6.10 a 6.0, and then we have a gap, a 6-day gap, and then we see these quakes picking up again, very short-lived. Well, here's first ones in June happened during that alignment with that X, the Sun, Venus, and Earth. And then later on in June, we had another alignment with a large body alignment, and this really was a small shift, and those alignments, that alignment occurred here again, falling in and out of just a direct body alignment. But notice not the 7-pointers. Why? Because the Sun isn't part of the alignment. So that's one less person tugging on your rope, so to speak. So and 6.10 went up into 6.13. We had a couple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 quakes occurring over a short period of time. Fast forward now to recent times. We had a bunch of quakes happening, and not little ones, right about this point in time. And we had no real alignments going on, except we had Venus again retrograding back into alignment with Earth, because it's in a tighter circle, comes back around and aligns with planet X again, and we have a series of quakes again with the Earth-Venus alignment. There was a second alignment, we have to be fair and point it out, with Mercury, but Mercury's not that effective that it can cause us 7-pointers. So we had 7-pointers through a short period of time, and generally short periods of quakes, short period quakes usually involve alignments with Venus, because it's a fast moving planet, and then alignments with Venus and Mercury and Earth, because they can team up. So here's an alignment where Venus retrograded right back into alignment with Earth, created quakes. So we should be able to move this forward. We had a 90-degree, and we're going to have another 90-degree, and that will be on 10-1. And 10-1, the 90-degree would be with Jupiter and the Sun. So we'll have quakes, Jupiter and the Sun, possibly 7-pointers, going to be happening on 10-1. That's on and about 10-1. That's when that alignment happens, 90 degrees between the Sun and Jupiter. But then right afterwards, starting about the 15th to about the 10-20, we have a 90-degree with Venus and that X that you should know where it is by now. Then, of course, that will signify back-to-back 90-degree alignments, and usually that can create some havoc with our subsidence zones, with our volcanoes, with the mid-Atlantic ridge, and also with just plate tectonics as well. So everything should be rocking in October. So we should be able to make predictions now based upon that position to test our theory with a 90% confidence, and we're going to boost it up to 98, 99% with two predictions of earthquakes. The 90 degree with the sun and the planet X has already happened, hasn't it?